The Shi Dao forces are the official military of the Shi Dao Governing Council, of which by the start of the war have disposed of the interim administration of the occupying Pacific Rim forces and the provisional government that was put in place, and now attempt to fight for sovereignty of their own nation. Opposed mainly by the said Pacific Rim forces, the originating government of the Shi Dao fights in opposition to the one world government ideal that the PRF seeks to create, refusing to become a subordinate of the Pacific Rim's military and economic obligations as outlined in their alliance. At the same time, they are at odds with the Wright brothers, a separatist faction that has given host to a civil war on the island that must be resolved militarily in order to establish control back over the island. Shi Dao's VT selections focus on long-distance fighting and fire superiority, sporting most of the game's artillery and sniper rifle focused VTs, while their standard combat models are more known for their high durability but similarly lacking close-range power. Their mainline VTs are sourced from Goodman Manufacturing, known for the Scareface series and their invention of the sniper rifle technology. Shi Dao also sources vehicles from Lycoming Defense Systems, a talented engineering company credited with the origin of the vertical tank as we know it, mainly selling the rudimentary VITS platform until the later stages of technology is reached, wherein a large host of third-generation VTs are at Shi Dao's disposal. The Pacific Rim Forces are an organization formed after the abolition of the United Nations, consisting of primarily 12 participating countries from all of Asia, and seeking to unite the world under a single unified government, gaining the cooperation of other countries like the United States in order to project their force globally, centralizing their control mainly in the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Rim forces seek to reinstate their control over the breakaway nation of Shi Dao and protect their investment, not looking to lose control over a nation that they've mainly used for their economic value, force projection, and sea lane access. The Pacific Rim forces VT selection are geared to be versatile, close-range fighters, also sporting specialized fast attack models with blitzing speeds and a special offensive capability for hit-and-run tactics. Many of their standard combat VTs are capable of melee attacks and are geared for frontal assaults with a versatility for mid-range, but both the standard and fast attack models have issues in adverse terrain, preferring open fields and fair grounds to move on. Komatsu Land Systems, a Japan-based company, are the main manufacturers of their VTs, known for the reliable balancer ratings and early adoption of the railgun weapon platform, with WM, a Singaporean company, supplying the limited fast attack design for them as well. The Wright brothers are a separatist splinter group from Shi Dao, born from their growing discontentment held from the original native population of the island and their opposition to both the Shi Dao and Pacific Rim forces' way of governance. Resentful of both the original annexation from the Pacific Rim forces and the misrepresentation by the Shi Dao government and their way of ruling, this faction seeks to both repel the Pacific Rim forces and restore rightful control of their country back into the native population and fight for their freedom. For the Wright brothers, their VT technology is almost entirely of their own design, with the final two VTs available to them during the war being the only two outsourced designs that they have, coming from the German-based Octaida. Otherwise, the Wright brothers create their own VT selections, taking elements from other existing designs while designing new parts to fit their combat style of guerrilla warfare. The Jaralaacs Mercenary forces are pilots for hire in a neutral organization that can play with all campaign teams in any mount for anyone's side. On the lore side, we don't ever get much of them aside from what we hear about them in Steel Battalion, but it's known that they are an apolitical outside organization that is available at turn 5, so a little over a month into a new campaign when they become available, that seeks to profit off of the events of the game. Their VT options are made of variants of the WM-made Jarlac model, a moderately expensive type with great armor, performance, and weapon options, with a large profile, and with also the VIT series at their disposal. Being a very adaptable second-gen machine, common that Jarlac pilots, for anything more specific, often trade between factions for specific VT options, or for personal preference. And for line of contact, the lore basically stops there. Anything more specific, the original Steel Battalion game is a little bit better at getting that through for you there, in both the lore book and the events of the game, giving you some lore as you go through it. Of course, going from Steel Battalion to line of contact, a lot of things were kind of changed with the lore. What's most commonly known is that the roles of the HSD and PRF were mostly flipped with HSD being more patriotic defenders of their own state, to PRF being kind of an encroaching, um, all-encompassing organization that kind of wants to encroach on the other states' rights and boundaries. And that's basically the lore of Line of Contact, round by round, play by play. Um, when it comes to Steel Battalion, I plan to make something about that a little while later. That whole thing is a big can of worms, not necessarily for writing quality or anything, but it's just a lot that goes into the lore in there, especially when you bring in the encyclopedia and everything. So a little bit more work I want to do, and then we'll go into that one, especially with the kind of visual design of what I want to do there. It would definitely help for people new and old looking into the lore of everything.